And we are live on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. Jerry running a few minutes late. I think he's still a little bit upset about Lazio dropping a 5-2 decision to Napoli earlier today. We're here. We're live, but some of you may listen to this on a replay. We're recording this on Thursday evening. So Jerry's going to pop in. Also, Adriano from the Calcio guys is going to drop in. Jerry notified me that Giovanni is banned because Jerry is so mad at he's so mad at Agnelli for the Super League. So eventually we're going to get the whole Calcio guys crew together. And I want to welcome in a first-time guest on the show. Really happy to have this guy, and we get along even though he's a Milanista. I really enjoy a group chat that we're in. Yann, welcome to the show, Yann. And by the way, the gear looks really fresh, man. So you brought it in style.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor and a privilege. So can't wait to talk calcio with you guys. Hi, Gianni. Hi, everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Waiting for the other two boys. They'll be here soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Johnny is with us as well. He's really become a regular. He's almost become like the third Calcio Connection member. So he's basically on every podcast now. I mean, he's a Calcio guy, of course. He's like he's like an accessory on Calcio Connection as well. And it's amazing how much has changed since we last did a show. We were on live on Monday night, and that was right in the middle of the whole European Super League saga, right? Because it had been announced, midnight on Sunday night, midnight European time, that is. So 6 p.m. our time. The three of us are in the Eastern Daylight Time Zone in North America. So it was announced, on Sunday night, and then Monday night we had all the fallout. We had a big show about it, and then by Tuesday the Super League was canceled. Oh, we got our guy Jerry in, and Jerry is still repping Lazio despite a tough loss today. We're going to get to it, Jerry. But guys, now that the Super League, I know some might say dead, others might say suspended, but there's not going to be any Super League games anytime soon. Yann, since you're the new guy to the program, I wanted to start with you. You're a Milanista, obviously. Your club was one of the three Italian teams that were going to take part in Super League. Where's your head at now that this thing is suspended, at least for the time being? Your club was going to be a part of it. How did you feel about it?
I wasn't totally against the whole idea of it to begin with, because I felt like it's been a while coming that this has been talked about, and UEFA, we all know, can't be trusted for many things, and the idea of having just the idea of change made them really panic. We saw that. So I think that they hit a chord, and I think that it's definitely not dead, because had like Fiorentino Perez said yesterday, no one's actually left. They've all put it on hold because there's contracts that have been signed. JP Morgan puts up all this money. People are signing contracts that this is going to go through. So I think they're just going to, reconvene, lick their wounds. They definitely took a hit. The fans and everyone, the backlash everywhere. I was probably in the minority of the people that were interested in this happening. But they'll be back. Something's going to happen. And as a Milanista, Berlusconi's been talking about this ever since I liked the club in the late 80s. So it's nothing new to me. This is something that my club's always been associated with, and it's no problem for me.
But by the way, one of the things for me about Super League is they had a god-awful PR department. It's like, so, and you have heavy hitters behind this. I mean, you think about Florentino Perez, president of Real Madrid. This is a very powerful guy. Andrea Agnelli, the Glazers, everyone else who was a part of this. Like, you would have thought they would have spent enough money on market research, focus groups. Let's get an idea of how football fans around the world are going to react to this, because I don't know what it was with the way that they announced it and the way that they rolled it out. It was like a revolution. Like, it was like a revolt for 48 hours. People protesting in front of stadiums. I mean, all four of us are very active on Twitter. We saw people losing their minds on social media about this. So it's like, how did these clubs? Because I think there are aspects of the Super League are a good idea. But many of the aspects of it, when you're announcing a league that's going to have 15 fixed members who don't earn their way in through meritocracy, you should know that football fans are going to react poorly to that. So
definitely.
And you guys, and we talked about this a lot on Monday, and I can be a little bit conspiratorial minded at times, and we've seen the concessions that UEFA has already made, right, since the Super League has been put on hold. all of a sudden UEFA has found an extra 4 billion euros under the couch cushion that they're going to start sprinkling into Champions League. So, I know that the sentiment around football Twitter is that it was this great revolution and outcry of fans that have stopped the Super League. Oh, it's this revolution of football fans who seek truth and justice, who stop the Super League from happening. When in reality, it sounds to me like the 12 clubs that form the Super League kind of won because now all of a sudden, UEFA is slowly but surely reforming Champions League and putting money into it. Johnny, where's your head at now after this whole saga?
Well, I mean, it's not surprising they found 4 billion euros all of a sudden in a no sock drawer or something. It's I mean, like we said on Monday, I wasn't pro UEFA or FIFA. I know they're a very corrupt organization. They have a history of it too. But I was just like pro competition, and what the idea was very anti-competition. Now, UEFA, yeah, they're conceding, and you know what? I have to give props to the super club teams for doing this kind of move to kind of make them sweat a bit. But this was not a victory for the fans. The fans had nothing to do with this. At the end of the day, like, we're just numbers in the system for these clubs. These clubs make money elsewhere through deals and sponsorships and whatnot. So we can say that we had an effect, like the Chelsea fans in front of the stadium, I commend them for their actions that they did, like it was, I get it. I'm a very passionate fan too, but at the end of the day, the only reason why UEFA all of a sudden revealed these $4 billion is because owners like Agnelli and Perez were bold enough to do something like this. So I think it was executed poorly, like you mentioned before, like,
Definitely.
It seemed so disorganized. It was just like as if they literally woke up, they started a group chat. Yo, you want to go against UEFA? Yeah, I'm in. Let's go. And then they just said, let's just do it. Yeah, why not? We feel dangerous today. Let's go. And that's what happened.
Oh man! And by the way, we welcome in Adriano from the Calcio guys, who's nice enough to join us. And so we're surrounded. I mean, we got a couple of Milanisti in the house. We have, of course, Gianni is one man representing two clubs. So we have Roma, and we have Napoli in the house. Of course, with Jerry, we have Lazio in the house. But let me welcome in Adriano. How you doing, sir? And how do you feel about the 48 hours of Super League madness?
Well, first off, I think you said it right. Pure madness it was in this last 48, not even 72 hours. First off, it is a pleasure to be on the podcast for the first time. I'm happy to be here on tonight. But yeah, I mean, I'm guessing you guys probably said everything. I mean, it's been a whirlwind. It's been crazy. Are we out? It's been something to really scratch your head about. We were so confused in the past 48 hours that we didn't even have to think who to believe, what sources to go to. We had our podcast last night, and we already had different news from people that podcast. Monday night, Sunday evening. So, like I said, crazy days that passed. I don't think this is over. I do think now, reading more news and just getting more updated, I do think, they're gonna be fighting again. This won't be the first and last time we hear about Super League or something Super League-esque, in my personal opinion. But I'm glad it didn't happen. We spoke about it last night. I think we all, well, for the most part, could agree on it that we didn't want the Super League. We can maybe understand it, but at the end of the day, I think as fans of the game and the devoted fans that we are, not just the casuals, like hardcore guys like us, I think it was the right move that teams have pulled out. It's suspended, and I guess we'll finish off the Campeonato strong, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. And Jerry, you were a very strong opponent of the Super League from the original announcement. In fact, you've been going so crazy on Twitter. I think you've handed out Chooch of the Week like 17 times already in the last 3 weeks. Chooch after Chooch after Chooch after Chooch. How do you feel about the way that this whole saga has unfolded, Jerry?
I'm fucking tired of talking about it. I don't even care about this Super League anymore. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. That's just me. I'm you know what? It's always going to be there to, like, we talked about it on the phone, actually, me and Yann yesterday, and he said a really good point. I think it's just there. It's always going to be there, but it's never going to materialize. And it's always going to be a deploy to get FIFA more. And he said this perfect yesterday. All of a sudden, where did this $4 billion he said on the phone perfect? And he's really good with math, Yann. Like, I've noticed that. Like, he knows I've noticed this. Like, even when we talk in our chat group, he knows he's not. I don't look at the figures. I don't look at that stuff. And I guess that's his field, right? And he was saying good things that I didn't even notice. And, like, all these facts are coming out about UEFA. But if they really wanted to, they probably could make this league happen. But in reality, they know that you don't want to squash every single league because there is no long-term goal to the Super League. It becomes like the MLS. And it works perfect for the MLS because of how we adapted it here. Like, that's just the way it is. But in Europe, there has to be all those leagues. Fuck you and your fucking sponsor. God damn it. This last fucking goddamn episode. I don't know. Give Latito a call, man. It's part of the problem. I honestly, the Super League's never going to happen, but it's always going to be there to squeeze UEFA and just release all their dirty facts. And now look, the next time they got to renegotiate about Champions League and they need more money or something, Super League's going to come back in another year or two, and then they're going to get what. That's what's going to happen. I can never see a Super League happening, and I think Yann said another good point yesterday too. Is that the moment they said that 15 teams cannot be relegated, that's the stupidest thing. That's where they really fucked up. Yeah. Had they never said that, and any team could be relegated to a second division, this could have maybe worked.
Yeah,
that was the dead point. Lastly, Milan Weekly Pod, Monday. Come on our pod. Never mind your fucking pod for Monday night. Lazio plays Milan. Milan plays Lazio on Monday. If you want to use these fucking little fighting words, let's bring it on Monday. I know you're watching me. And we can bring on Yann too. I like his banter, so I can accept it. We have a nice war.
I don't know. Monday's game is gonna be two
sounds
teams.
Like a WWE promo. Monday night, I will see you in a podcast. You and me, brother.
Oh my God!
Hold on. What have the sponsors done for Milan in the last decade? I still see Lazio still winning more than Milan in the last decade without a sponsor. How's that?
I mean, by Lazio metrics, that is winning a lot. At least, I guess, winning a few league cups is something big for you guys.
Hey, I'll take it after. I'll take it over half the league has won in the last decade.
Just imagine how many more Marikis you can buy with the shirt sponsor, right, Jerry?
A couple more pirates.
Did anybody watch the game today? Did you guys?
I couldn't watch it today at work. I was able to watch
miss?
the Atalanta Roma game. I couldn't watch the Lazio game. Jerry, what did Murici do? Murici, because I saw you tweeting about this guy. What happened?
He's so bad, man. He missed a sitter. Like, Cataldi had missed a sitter before him, but it was kind of more a block attempt. With Murici, he had all the time in the world, and he sealed it right over the goal. He's bad, man. 20 million, we could have bought two center backs. Never mind one. You could buy a good player for 10 million. You know what? If you do your homework. And then the best part was when Iglitari shaked his head in the first half, and I started laughing. I was like, how can this guy shake his head when – they won the Christmas basket at the local bar? But how can – they're both shit. Leal and Murici, they're both garbage. They both can't finish. Sorry.
You know what it is? It's trash versus garbage.
Yeah.
Right now,
For me, Tade has no right to shake his head when you spent 20 million on a fucking guy who is playing backup. Is a reserve player and you're paying 20 million. That's how stupid he is. I'm sorry. Like these decisions, if you're going to spend 20 million, it's got to be a starter. That's the clear end goal. That there's no, especially a team like Lazio who doesn't have the money to spend, like Milan, Inter, Juve, even Roma. I'd say, like, you got to be smart, man. Like that. We bought Brescia 2 years ago for 8 million. I like Fares. I think Fares has been a good sign. I know he wasn't the best today, but he's been better lately. But still, they gotta be smarter with their money. That's for you taking Musakio.
You know, Jerry, you brought up something. You brought up something that was interesting about Super League. How the threat is always going to be there, and they can kind of go back to that well whenever they want some kind of reform from UEFA. Now, let me give you guys a hypothetical. Like, okay, what if at some point Super League does happen, years down the road, or at least some form of Super League? It may look a little bit different than what they proposed this past week. You almost wonder if by throwing it out there on Sunday night and seeing the reaction to it, that gives them the opportunity now to have actual market research. Okay, so now they have an idea. Okay, so we throw a plan out there and people fucking hated it. So that gives them an idea on maybe, okay, how do we tweak it? And also, now that we've thrown the idea out there and put it out in the universe, people are going to be desensitized the next time we throw it out there. Because you remember, I mean, there was a lot of shock and awe on Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday, and there was a lot of anger. But it's like now mentally, every football fan knows that, hey, the idea of Super League is out there, and even though clubs pulled out of it, they've suspended it, as we've talked about, and Florentino made it very clear, and Barcelona had made it very clear that the Super League is not dead. It's suspended. So now people are desensitized to it. So maybe a year or two from now, they come back and they announce it or propose it again. Maybe they tweak it a little bit so it's less insufferable for the fans, and fans are desensitized to it. So really what they did on Sunday was get an idea. How are people going to react to this? And maybe how can we tweak it in the future to make it more tolerable? What do you think about that, Yann?
I think that's a very good theory on what happened, because in a sense, maybe they did hire a really good marketing firm and this was their idea, or this was their own market research just done, on the cheap. And it's like, well, we're going to, with the Teflon anyway. Look, I'm still here wearing my Milan stuff. I'm always going to be doing that. I know I saw Carlo Garganese like tweeting about how he had a Juve fan that was going to drop, and you made a good point of saying like that fan stayed with Calciopoli scandals and all these other problems, and now they're going to drop. I mean, these teams are Teflon, so I think your theory is perfect. I mean, of course, they threw it out there. It didn't go over very well, but it's given everyone something to think about. Now, already, like Jerry threw out the idea, 2 divisions. They're going to tweak this until they come to a decent agreement with UEFA, with all the clubs. It's not going to happen overnight, but now the idea is out there, and absolutely, we're desensitized. We're in a time right now that you see something on Snapchat, and 2 days later, it's already passé, and it's not even important. It's the same thing with the Super League. No one's going to care about it next time they talk about it, or they'll care about it a lot less. They're going to get a lot less angry about it.
And I see the point that Milan Weekly Pod made, and maybe he's right. Maybe we're giving them too much credit. $12 trillion owners just couldn't get it right. I guess that's a possibility. What do you think about this, Gianni?
I mean, it's possible. I think now that they see that, they could probably observe, like, okay, what do people react negatively to the most of? And it was the whole non-relegation thing.
Yep.
And I think, like, okay, well, maybe how about we suggest this? We start a new league, because the goal is to, keep proper earnings from a Champions League position, but not pretty much take the money not have UEFA collect the money, just we collect the money. But we start off with maybe these 15 teams plus 5 teams, and then do a whole rotational basis from there. Then I think that might actually happen, because it's still in the whole competitive scheme of things. You're still trying to earn your spot. Yeah, it makes sense to put these 15 teams in there, because these are the teams that, call a spade a spade, the casuals are going to watch. At the end of the day, they don't care about the diehards. Diehards are going to watch their teams no matter what. Diehards are going to be there every morning at 6:30 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. to watch the games on the East Coast. Sometimes 3:30 a.m. if they live in the West Coast. I know some people, but whatever we accept it, if not, in unison, grassroots football is no good. Anytime we want, we unite and boycott the game's products, we achieve our goal.
That's a romantic idea.
It is.
I just wanted to bring something up, because Gianni made me think about it. When the World Cup first started, teams were invited, and there were 6 of them. And does it really look at those World Cups as anything less achieving? Does Uruguay look at their first World Cup win and be like, we weren't really world champions because we got invited and there was only 6 teams?
Well,
the Super League is going to start.
I think Uruguay counts like extra World Cups, like they count like Olympics World Cups.
Yeah,
they count like
the Ottawa Senators in hockey and their cups that were won before. Yeah. But like the Super League is going to start somewhere, just like the European Cup started somewhere, just like Champions League developed and all these other things. So I see the outrage now, but like, come on, like if we're going to tell Italy to stop counting one of the World Cups because they were invited, like they didn't get there on merit. So I don't know. Like, anyway, that's just thanks for Jenny for making me think about that.
No, but that's what it is. Like, if you started off with them and then do a whole rotational or invite basis or like, I don't know, like some kind of qualification method, then I'm in agreement with it, because a lot of those teams, yeah, they have the most fans, they have the most casual viewers, and they have probably the biggest sponsorship deals and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, nobody's gonna watch Serie A for Benevento Crotone, as everybody likes to say.
No, their brand is out there. Their brand is huge.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, but then afterwards, if you're like, yeah, you know what? If you finish top 3 in the Italian league, you're in the Super League. Like, okay, there you go. Now you get the top 3 best teams in Italy of last year to play in the Super League the next year. Then I'm okay with that. But not like, oh yeah, you know, we're the richest teams. Go ahead, have fun. And like, okay, gee, thanks. Like, they can perform badly, but they're still there. Like, I'm not down to watch Juve get smacked 15-0 versus PSG.
I'm down to watch that.
Yeah, and twice on Sunday too.
Fair. That's a good point.
You know, so something I want to go around the table on. Actually, before we get to that, Adriano, I'll let you put the bow on that topic if you think that you know maybe this was sort of a test run for the Super League announcement.
Yeah, I think you guys said it right. I mean, I think they put the bait out there. People caught on negatively. Obviously, it touched a lot of people, you know, deeply. Listen, they put out the bait. Like they went fishing. They put out the bait. They see what would stick, what would catch, what wouldn't, and they tested the waters. I mean, like Yann said, I don't, and you guys all said pretty much. I don't think this will go away. I do think it's something that it maybe won't be called the Super League. Maybe it's a revamped Champions League. Maybe it's something different, another branch off of some sort. But I think the biggest point that everybody is making is the whole thing about merit. And you can't just buy or just exist to be involved in these types of things. I think the merit point is something that obviously needs to be stressed. And, you know, if they can make it work that way, make the money they want to make, because we know they're greedy bastards. I'm sorry if I'm swearing or using some bad lingo on the pod.
We would say far worse things.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I listen, guys. I think you guys all said it well. They casted. Did everything bite positively? Obviously not. But again, they will cast another time down the line for sure.
You know, I know that a question some fans have had, I think this has already been answered by several news outlets. But again, so many news outlets got so many things wrong during the Super League saga. At some point, You don't know who to trust. But you know, I know some fans have been wondering, you know, should the clubs who, you know, tried to form the Super League, should they now be punished, you know, by their own domestic leagues or by UEFA? Should there be, you know, heavy fines, point deductions? You know, so some fans say, oh, they should be relegated, stuff like that. Now, I think it's been pretty much confirmed that there won't be any punishments. And honestly, I don't see how you can punish them, because Super League, like, nothing's actually happened.
Exactly.
You know, some tweets were sent out, some interviews were given, you know. Florentino Perez and Andrea and Yann went in front of some cameras and talked about it, but no games have actually been played. No money has actually been accepted, because we talk about the big payday that was going to come from JP Morgan, but to my knowledge, no checks have actually been cashed. So I don't see how you can actually punish these teams, because they haven't actually done anything. You know, Jerry, I'll go to you first on this one. So, like, legally, I don't think they can be punished, but do you believe that maybe some punishment should have been considered? Because, you know, obviously if you're UEFA and if you're some of the clubs that, you know, weren't going to be part of the Super League, you may want to make sure that there's a threat that if this does happen again, there's going to be consequences for it.
Well, I don't think the club itself, like the players or management, will be penalized by penalty, like any points or anything like that, or being like relegated. But I wonder if there is any way of fining these teams of any, like, I'm sure these guys have lawyers that will find loopholes, not like reprehending them for like Kachopoli say, but like fines or something that will teach these guys a lesson to not get away with this. I know that nothing materialized in terms of like everything going set in motion, but I'm pretty sure that these lawyers probably know something, like a clause or something, in order to penalize all these teams for what they have done. That's just the way I look at it. Like, I think Milan's doing the best approach right now. apparently they want to get rid of Gazidis now because of what his involvement was in this project. I don't know how much of that is true. It's only being reported by Football Italia. I was reading this morning, and Maldini apparently hasn't been talking to Gazidis, and he didn't like the fact that he wasn't really involved in any. I don't think he ever wanted to be a part of this, but the fact that Gazidis just did this behind his back, didn't involve him, and just remember what happened when Boban was there, and the whole friction and how they wanted Boban out, and now Gazidis goes behind his back and does this shit. And I don't remember the whole Boban situation, but you can say it wasn't any better. And now look what Gazidis is doing, right? So like I respect Maldini because I think he's a guy who is a traditionalist. He's not a type of guy who's willing to go and break what football is like today. Sorry, like what it was. The guy that played in the 90s and 2000s, right? Like all of a sudden you think he's going to want a Super League when he's used to playing in a system that worked for so many years. So to me, I think at the end of the day, Gazidis will be gone by the end of the year, and it's going to be Maldini's team moving forward. That's how I look at it.
Let me ask the Milanisti about it. Adriano, I'll start with you. Have you heard that the scuttle there about Gazidis? What do you think about that?
I mean, I didn't really. I mean, maybe Yann, you probably could back me up a bit more on this. I personally didn't. If it was in the chat, I didn't see it. But I think obviously Maldini, like Jerry said, the traditionalist. He is. He is all class. Obviously, what confused me a bit was that he was like unaware of what was going on. I thought maybe he would have, maybe heard something, being the high up that he is. So that kind of concerned me. But again, I don't know. Gazidis, Milan's been going through a bad time for the past decade. All us Milan fans know it. And again, Yann could back me up on that. We've seen some terrible times this past decade. So anything just to try to get back to where we once were, I think is always in the back of the club's mind, obviously. I mean, listen, to make an extra buck here or there, I think they'll try to do. But at the same time, I don't know. I think they approach everything well from what I saw. They kind of didn't. They weren't the Agnelli out in the open. Everything is on blast. They kind of kept it cool, calm, collective. They entered, they left, smoothly from what I read or from what I saw. But yeah, I don't know. Gazidis, maybe being a little sneaky behind his back. I don't know. I didn't really read up on it, but maybe I don't know. Maybe he wants to go back to Arsenal. I don't know, but I think everything's been working smoothly. So far so good. I think with Milan, they're in the right direction. I hope this is not something that causes any friction. We are at the home stretch of the Campionato. This Super League, we can forget about it. We don't need to talk about it. We need to focus on what is ahead of us, and it's these last 5-6 games.
6 games.
So, exactly right. So yeah, and I don't know if you saw anything else, but
I think you said something right at the end there where you said like we have 6-7 games left. First off, the way Milan is running their operation, Gazidis is definitely just the finance guy.
Exactly.
And Maldini and Masada are the player guys. So they probably don't interact about these things. And if you saw the way Pioli spoke about it and Pirlo spoke about it, two very different approaches. Pioli was like, the club didn't speak to me about it. They just said, don't worry about Super League. Focus on finishing top 4. Yep. Whereas Pirlo was like, though, Agnelli sat down with everybody and spoke to them about the plans. Even after their win against Parma, Pirlo was still like, something has to change. It's too bad it didn't go through. So now Football Italia, they report a lot of things. Is Gazidis out? I mean, Milan, to me, if you look at the budgets and how much they were in debt, 151 million, I think they were kind of like the last one to be joining the Super League from the Italian perspective, because Inter really needs the money, not to pick on a dead horse here. And Juventus needs the money because they didn't pass the round of 16 3 times in a row, and they're paying a lot of money for players. So Milan was invited probably they shouldn't be there out of merit. They sucked really bad for the last 10 years. They should be there for an historical point of view, and they probably invited at the end. 150 million in debt. They don't really need that $300 million payout. They're going to come out of this. So I'm not buying into it that they're going to get rid of Gazidis. Maybe Maldini leaves out of spite, out of pride. I'm not putting that out there, but I didn't read that anywhere. But I think they're going to deal with it, and their goal is to finish top 4. If they don't finish top 4, there's going to be a lot of heads that are rolling at Milan, not just Gazidis. So,
are you concerned? I mean, obviously, a tough loss yesterday against Sassuolo, and you guys, you're of course you're right in it. Are you concerned about dropping out of the top 4?
I actually want to drop on that. Hold on.
Sure.
Do you think that if top 4 doesn't happen, Pioli's fired? That's the bigger question now.
It's a great question.
That's the bigger question.
I mean, there's a chance, but he would be the last one to be fired. I think Masada, Gazidis, after this whole like anything could happen. I mean, Maldini might leave. If they make top 4, there's a reason to continue with everybody. If they don't, I could see a lot of heads roll. Besides, the guy above Gazidis, but Pioli. I mean, if you're not top 4, you're gonna have to keep a guy like that. Who are you gonna attract as a coach?
Exactly.
You've re-signed Zlatan now, but doesn't mean the other guys are going to re-sign.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, I mean, it also depends. Like, are we going to totally crash and burn and totally crash out of top 4? Are we going to be that 1 point away again?
I've seen this movie before, man.
Exactly, right? We've seen this. This is like chapter 3 for us.
Titanic.
This is like exactly. This is the sequel. The like everything,
future.
right?
Hey, I know this one.
Exactly.
So it's brand new.
Exactly, right? So I mean,
Groundhog Day with Bill Murray.
There you go. So there's different circumstances in crashing out of top 4. I mean, I think it's something to look at, but at the same time, I always say when it's changing of a coach, when it's whatever to do with the coach, exactly. No, exactly. We'd like them to continue. But like, is the grass greener on the other side? Are we changing, 4 quarters for $1 again? We've done this before. Yann knows this. Steve knows this in the chat, Milan Weekly Pod. We all know this. We've heard this story before. Exactly.
Because of Pioli. We're
exactly.
Because we don't have a right wing and we don't have anyone to play a striker. Like, we're losing for that right now.
So I think listen, I think Pioli stays. If they do crash out of top 4, which I mean I don't think, and I hope they don't, but again, who's gonna come? Are we gonna go for another caretaker manager? Is this whole project gonna start over again? We don't want to go down that path, right? So I think the chemistry has been good so far with this core. Obviously, with Ibra, re-signing today was big news. That finally got put to rest, and we can now move on, and we know where we stand with him. Obviously, there's other contracts that need to be negotiated. But listen, guys, I think Pioli's done a pretty good job taking a team that wasn't supposed to be anywhere near where they are, and exactly. He's done pretty well. So again, I think he stays, but I don't know. It depends who's available, even if they don't, if they do decide to sack him.
I just hate when I have to hear even my own buddies message me on the side. I'm not gonna say names, but they say that No. I don't want to be that guy, but the reasoning is that Pioli's known for late collapses and meltdowns, and sure. I get the pass, but I don't blame him for this season. Like, look what he's dealt with, the injuries, the players. COVID. Yeah, it's just he's done a good job steering a very young team. Like, it was gonna happen. These losses are just not fluke. There is a lot of inexperience in this team that
they're a young team.
They're not 30 years old.
They're the
youngest team.
One of. And I spoke to Gianni the other night, last night actually, after we got off, and I mean, it took 21, 22 weeks before Inter finally, was able to overpass us, and that's no job to anybody. But and that's no job to anybody. But just to say, a team that wasn't supposed to be where they're supposed to be gets all the fuck in the world, whatever, on Twitter, whatever, fine. But it took 21, 22 weeks for the Super Inter to pass them. And again, Alex, I love you, and it's no job to you. But just to put everything into perspective, I think from top to bottom, they've done a good job. Don't get me wrong, they've had their flaws. Things do need to be still worked out. But again, I think they're on the right course, and I mean, this top 4 finish will be the cherry on top and the start of a new era. I think with this Milan.
I want to actually hold on, Alex. I want to cap it off with something that the Milan Weekly Pod said last time when we had them on, and they said it perfect. I think all our fan bases are too reactionary.
Oh, big time.
That's the biggest issue, and they said it perfect. The minute if Milan loses Monday, that's 2 losses in a row. Do you know what's going to happen? And they said this perfect last time. It's going to be Pioli out, burn the fucking club to the ground, and let's start a revolution, because
you're right.
And I don't get it. And Lazio's in the same boat. And I know we're not as like
you're gonna be going after Ragnick again. If
another fantasy.
Worse, but I get our club's nowhere like the same level like the other clubs at the top. But it's like even Inzaghi, two losses in a row, get him out. He can't change. He can't do this. He can't do that. But I think that people need to realize what these coaches are dealing with. You got one manager who has a budget of 40 million. You got another manager who has a team average 22 years of age. You got Antonio Conte that has a fucking brain testadura. And you got Napoli, who shit on fucking Gattuso for half the season and somehow has his team in a top 4 spot. Like, figure this one out, eh? Fucking, you got to let the season play out. Once you get 2 seasons in, I say, then you can start saying, okay, maybe it's time to, like, get rid of him. Look, Inzaghi's been with the team for 5 years, and look at the results. Can you imagine maybe if he was at Milan for 5 seasons, what he could have done with that team and what they've always been able to bring to that team? Like,
agreed.
Jerry, I agree with you 100%, but we know Italy, there's no patience. There's no patience, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but we're so bad in Italy. It's terrible. And listen, Jerry, I totally agree with you.
I like that. That's not bad. I don't mind.
Mourinho
I don't mind Mourinho.
Sorry,
that would hurt my feelings as an Interista. I would know how Juventini feel seeing Conte at Inter. I would get a taste of my own medicine.
We're gonna win tripletta, Alex, if that happens.
You know what? Oh, that would cut me to the core.
That's it.
All right, I'm done.
I want to. I want to. I'll say my quick piece on Pioli. I think he's done a really good job. And Jerry brought up a point that Pioli has the reputation of starting fast and then crashing hard. But it's like, and we call it the Pioli high. But he's done so well at this stop because usually the Pioli high is 5 or 6 weeks. At Milan, the Pioli high was like 5 or 6 months or more than that. Because if you go from the second half of last season into the first half of this season. I mean, he had this squad in incredible form. And like you guys said, all the injuries here in the second half and all the inconsistency on the roster, I don't really blame him for that. So I actually think Pioli has done an excellent job at Milan. Before we wrap up this episode, I want to give Gianni a chance to talk a little shit to Jerry because Napoli hung. And again, I can't comment on the specifics because I wasn't able to watch the game today. I had to start working after the Roma-Atalanta game. But Gianni, the floor is yours, man, because you guys beat up Lazio today. I will let Jerry have a rebuttal, but talk a little trash, sir.
I want to talk trash, but I had to be a working boy today, and I worked.
Oh, you too?
Yeah. So I missed both the Roma and Napoli games. So I don't
because you're a little bitch. That's because you're a little bitch.
Obviously, when I'm at work, like there's a 5-goal game. Insigne gets a brace.
Beautiful
gets
goal.
A goal.
What a goal, man.
Oh, man. Like, I was watching the highlights just to try to see if I can get an idea of the game. And holy hell, I kind of agree with you guys. It wasn't Lazio's day today. So, I kind of feel bad to shit talk. But you know what? Suck on that, Jerry. Suck on that. 5-2.
Hey, it's not my fault you guys were sucking on the ref.
Jerry, I feel bad about something.
There were some questionable calls.
I feel bad about something I tweeted today because our friend Sean McIntosh, who's got an adorable son,
Leone.
Yeah, he sent out a little video of I don't know how old his son is, like 6 months, like a tiny adorable baby, and he's like kicking a soccer ball to his son, and his son is like sort of like he's on his back kicking it back to him, and he said, he tweeted at Lazio, was like, how old does he have to be to get into the Primavera? And then I responded to the tweet, you guys could have used him on defense today.
It was horrible back
bad.
there, man.
Yeah.
So disjointed. I hadn't seen. Jerry, are they always like that?
Oh, it's better back then. I told you the 20 million to Mariki. I said it today on Twitter. Spending 20 million on Mariki, That's why I called out Iglitari. You have no right to shake your head because we needed a center back and we shifted Maricic into that right side. And he's probably been okay, but still, like it's, you know what? The first goal wasn't the defense's fault. It was, I thought it was a bad call, but everyone's gonna have a say on that. I just think that I thought the penalty was a bad call because he's already made the contact, and his leg is not above his waist. He's a tall guy as well, and Manolis is already going in for the ball with his legs already there. So.
It's still a reckless play, though.
Yeah.
I know what
Anywhere
you're saying,
else,
Jerry. I know what you're saying.
It's always going to be a debatable call.
Anywhere else on the pitch, I think that's a call of foul and probably the yellow card. That's the only thing that I can say, Jer. Like, not against, like I'm not want to go against you. I personally thought it was the right call, but at the same time, because of the reckless play, that really took it over the top. If the boot wasn't up there and maybe it was a bit lower, whatever, maybe we're talking in a different tune, but no, Jared, go on.
That's just the way you know what? The first goal, no chance. That's not the defense. The second goal, Mohamed Fadez is at fault, not the defense, because the wing back doesn't step up on Politano. He gives them too much space. He goes around. What does he do? He takes an innocent shot, and Peperena lays a stinker. So
he should retire.
He's had a good season, but he should have stopped a long time ago. I don't know why Strakosch is not playing. That's a whole different debate. I can go on for an hour.
Is he hurt or is he?
No, he's not. He's healthy.
Wow. Did he have COVID?
No, he did. He did at the time.
Could it be that?
Wow. That was like 2 months ago.
I know, but look, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it could be that.
That's a good question. I don't know either. It's sad.
I thought he was hurt.
And then again, I thought it was a penalty at first, and then Nima really broke it down to me, and I said it on the Rafa and Rant. I don't like talking about it again because I'm so tired of it. I even sent the video out about it. I'm so tired of it now. I don't even care anymore. And then the second goal wasn't the defense. The third goal was Insigne, right? The chip pass.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it's not.
Beautiful.
That's not the defense's fault because it's far out. That's Peperena again off his line, not making the save, not leaving so much space behind him. Like that's another. It's not the defense for me because he's not really attacking the defense. He's not going inside the box. You know what I mean? He takes a nice shot from outside, and it's just a nice place shot. And Peperena's fucking lays a stinker for me. And then look at the fourth goal where Mertens gets a perfect pass, and he just laces it properly. Like it's just he converted it properly. That one, Peperena had no chance. I'll give him that one. That goal was out of reach. And then the last one was a poor turnover from Acerbi. But then again, Rena doesn't step up on Osimhen, leaves so much space. I don't think
money.
The defense. Yeah. I do agree with you, Yann, that they were dysfunctional a lot of the time, and were fortunate, but it wasn't the defense that conceded the goals today. It was just Napoli converting their chances, Napoli being in the right position, Napoli getting the right shots. And then again, Lazio, they don't finish their chances today. Immobile had, I think he laid off 2 passes in the first half when he should have took shots. Alberto, and when the shots, like Alberto made a pass, I think that shouldn't have made a pass. Like there were like at least 5-6 chances where they pissed away. Correa, the Correa and Alberto
had a nice shot.
Yeah, and then he hit the post. Correa. What about if he scores that? It's 2-1. A whole different game, man. All of a sudden, it's not 5-2 anymore. The momentum shifted. Napoli is a very fragile team when you can get them. Like, I was encouraged with the result. You know what? Not with the result. So the performance for me wasn't bad for Lazio. I thought they played very well. The difference was they didn't finish. That was the end game. Like Correa, stop trying to play for a foul. It pisses me off. You're a good player. Lazio gets dinged with 5 and none of the.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Me too.
I don't think it's defense's fault, man. I think it's other players that were out. Maybe the fifth goal, yes, Acerbi. On the 5th goal, was
and
Cherby's
the Mertens
fault.
one for me. And the Mertens one for me. Nobody's on him. Nobody's on him. Yes, he takes a great shot, but nobody's on him.
I even think the Insigne goal because
when
you're disjointed like that, you're allowing these players to have a view of the net. If you're not playing tight defensive lines, playing tight together, you're giving Insigne that look that he can see that corner and put it in. Hakan did it against
and we all know And
he
we all
tried that
know
shot 4
Mancini's
times. You
doing
gotta
it too.
look. So
I'll look at it right now.
I think it's just when you don't pressure Napoli, when you don't attack them, stay on them, make it hard for them, they're gonna run the table on you because they're fast, they're skilled, and they can go up. They can go around you. I find Lazio is too far apart.
I think besides Gasperini's system, I think Napoli's probably got the best offense in the league. To be honest,
we say it all the time. We say it all the time. I mean, we say it on our podcast too. I mean, you put Napoli's attack. Forget their defensive issues, whatever. If their Koulibaly is not there, it's a whole different ball. Forget that. Mm-hmm. Going forward, I mean, I don't know. They have a pretty scary attack. Yeah. Does it match Inter? Does it match Lazio when they're on? Does it match these other teams?
Zelensky today looked like he was alone in that midfield. I didn't see anybody around him. Zelensky was just I'm gonna walk around with the ball all day long. No one was on.
Probably our best player. I think Zelensky this season has been Napoli's best player besides Lozano. So
and Insigne, 17 goals. 17 goals. I mean, come on. And you know what? I think we should give some praise, to Osimhen. I don't want to give him too much praise to give him too high of a horse. But this is 3 goals in 5 games. A guy who gets all the fuck in the world. Still a young player. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
He hasn't had a bad luck this year. He was injured.
Yeah. If he can stay healthy, the guy is disgustingly skilled. Like it's all about staying on the pitch.
Exactly.
Jerry.
The Insigne goal, I agree with you. It's Leiva's fault. I just
he danced Leiva.
That's Leiva. Leiva was terrible the whole game. He was atrocious. I think he's done. He's slow, and I heard that they might cancel his contract. They might agree to part ways in the summer, which I don't know. I really don't really care, but I do agree that the defense needs to step up on the Mertens goal. Yes, you're right. Looking at it, that's a lot of space. Now looking at the replay, I think that's Maricic who doesn't really step up. He's the closest, and he's not a natural center back. So that to me, it's
that's a problem. Yeah,
and that's a problem. And Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Lulic that was on the
wing
back or whatever on the wing back? And talking about Zelensky that Yann just brought up,
Zelensky went around him easily.
Zelensky totally danced him. He went around him like it was exactly super easy, and he found Mertens, and Mertens, fine, he took a great shot, but nobody's on him, right? He has the space. He has that. He knows that he's gonna have the space and be able to take the shot. And for him, it was 102 with Napoli, and it went in, and you saw the emotions at the end of that. So,
what? Even though they were up 4-0 Napoli, I think the game kind of changed. Even the game tilted into Lazio's favor when they brought on Daniele Cataldi.
When it was 4-2, it was interesting.
When Cataldi came on, it was 4-0. He really changed that midfield up, and I thought that he gave speed more. A guy who was making challenges, tackles, intercepting balls, making things happen alongside Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. And I think a lot of the time, Leiva just didn't offer anything throughout the whole game. And it was 10 versus 11. That, and I think that was the advantage for Napoli throughout the game was that a prime Leiva will dominate the midfield with those two. He's no longer that player anymore.
He looks like Lucas Billy out there, man.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. If I'm Lazio for Monday, I start Cataldi over Leiva.
That's a good shout.
You know what? I know he's been good and bad, and he's our homegrown player, but I think this guy needs to give it a chance now. You need fresh legs. You need something who can create something in that midfield, and playing alongside Alberto and Sergei, I think that really will help him, and that's just the way I would approach the last 6 games. Gonzalo Escalante's hurt, go with Cataldi. That's
a good show.
And if it doesn't work with Cataldi, you bring in Parolo. You don't bring in Leiva.
Oh man, Parolo.
He plays well against Milan. That guy dead for 12 games. Milan,
exactly.
Parolo,
he sees the red and black. Yeah, it's
even at Derby, he's gonna have a good game against Milan. They didn't keep him. He always shows up, and then back to being a dinosaur at Serie A.
Fata de Gat, yeah, we know.
They're gonna play 2018 story. Barcelona, like Steve said in the Milan chat. It's gonna be Lazio.
Before we wrap it up, Jerry, I got a question for you, and I think I know your answer because I was reading your tweets. So this would have been a crucial 3 points today for Lazio. You're now 7 points out of 4th place with 6 matches left. Are you giving up on the possibility of Champions League?
I'm 90% giving up. I think that I have slim hope if we beat Milan. That's the only way that we have a chance, because Milan's run of games is really tough compared to Lazio's. So I just think that if anything, it's 6 points basically up for grabs if you really look at it on Monday. So Milan, Lazio can play very well against Milan at home. So that's the encouraging aspect of this game. I heard that Luis Felipe should be available for Monday's game. Fingers crossed he could be back. That's the player that Lazio's been missing the most in the last 3 months because he was we needed him this season, and losing him has hurt our back line. So if he comes back and plays in any shape, form for this game, that's huge. And a loss and they're done. They're back to where they belong, Europa League. So.
Oh, that's sad to hear you say that, Jerry.
Yeah. It sounded so sad when he said that.
I don't know. I feel like it's a tragedy. Well, we'll wrap it up on that note, guys. And I appreciate the love by Anthony Privatera saying he just hopped in, but he says, great lineup. Can't wait to watch this back. And yeah, that's a good shout to everybody that as soon as we end this, the replay is going to be available on YouTube immediately to watch and listen to. And then tomorrow it's going to be up on all the audio channels as well. So first, I'll give a big shout out to Yann for joining us. First time guest here on the Calcio Connection. Yann, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was great. Jerry, thanks for the invite. Even Alex, thank you for the invite. Gianni, Adriano, thanks again. I mean, we chat every day, so it's great to see you guys. With COVID, we can't really see each other, even though we're in the same city. But it was a privilege and an honor. Anytime, guys. It was really fun chatting. Thanks.
Yeah, and Adriano, thank you so much for hopping in, man. And of course, I'll let you and Gianni both promote what you guys are doing on Calcio, guys. But Adriano, thank you so much, man, for making time for us.
No, of course. I mean, I wouldn't miss it. Trying to see if it's going to get mobile. Am I going to jump onto the laptop? I'm glad you guys still expect me to come on. First time on, and honestly, it's been a pleasure. It was a quick chat. I hope to be on. Like I always tell you guys, you know where to find us if you ever need anybody to jump on. But a big thank you to everybody for chatting tonight. It was great. Like Yann said, me, Gianni, and Yann live in the same city, but we can't really see each other too much because of COVID and all this BS. But where you can find us, we do the Calcio guys, weekly Calcio podcast. Covering everything Serie A, everything Azzurri, but maybe not that training top. I don't know if we're going to really discuss it this week. We'll see. But at the Calcio on all your platforms and wherever you find your podcasts as well.
Love it, and thanks to Gianni as well, who's he's almost become a semi-regular on this show. Thank you so much for stopping in again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I feel honored every time I'm invited. And it's always exciting to talk Calcio with you guys, and I really love the concept and stuff that you guys got going here. So thank you so much for having me. Just to reiterate, in case anybody's listening to this later on, you can find me, Adriano, and Nicholas at the Calcio guys on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or if you want, and you can find us like on any of your podcasting listening platforms.
Hey, Jerry, you've been on a tear with the videos on Twitter lately. Let people know where they can check out your writing as well, because you work your ass off all week.
The Laziale, and I just posted an article on Serpents of Inter, or
we're converting Jerry very slowly.
Serpents of Modena. I just wrote a match, winners and losers of Inter's match yesterday versus Spezia. No, I'm not converting to Inter. I just like to write about other teams. That's it, man. I even released an article yesterday on Pioli and how he's been doing well with Milan this season and how he's really turned it around. So I'm trying not to be biased. I try to be very unbiased and open-minded, and a lot of people don't like that I write for other teams, but I can give a fucking two shits, to be honest.
Like, I don't know why people think that just because you write about a team means you're a fan of that team. It's a really dumb mentality, man. You're a fucking journalist. Like, yeah, you do write about Lazio, but just because you also write about Inter sometimes, and you've written about Milan, you've written about Napoli before, doesn't mean you're a fan of all these teams. So it's like, people need to understand that, man. You're a writer. You're a scholar.
Well, the whole Juventus universe thinks I'm a fake Lazio fan. I'm really an Inter fan, but
that's because Juventus fans are paranoid, bro. That's all that
is. There's the.
I wouldn't buy an eye at the Juventini, Cherry. I wouldn't buy an eye.
Oh, I wouldn't fucking buy shit out of that fucking cancer club. Cancer club. But anyways, there's the Ronaldo fan club. Now I'm learning the Agnelli fan club. Fuck, another one.
Everyone wants a unibrow.
Fuck, for real. Those fucking teeth he has. Jesus Christ. With all the money he has, you can't get a dentist.
I think Santino the wrestler had it back in the day. At one point, he had full phase with the unibrow and the mullet going on.
By the way, I see like people have been asking me because a couple weeks ago I accidentally posted the link to join, and people were like just hopping in like wedding crashers. So like I'm not opposed to doing it. Like I want to do it again. Shit. But the thing is, when we have 5 people in the room, that's the max that they allow. You can't have more than 5 people in. So it's not like I decided, I'm going to make this like super league where I'm going to exclude other people. Like, honestly, I don't mind because we had a lot of fun a couple weeks ago. When people were hopping in and crashing the show, I had a lot of fun with it. But you can't do it when there's 5 people because on the service that we use, StreamYard, the 5 people max. So I can't bring other people on when we have 3 guests on. So maybe next week, if we have a smaller chat, we're going to bring people in because I do want to do that again. So it's going to be a good one. I appreciate everyone again for stopping in. I appreciate everyone who's watching this, everyone who listens back to it on the podcast. We will talk to you guys again next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Ciao, guys.
Bye, guys.